There you see Dennis Smith Jr. If you look at his rookie season compared to this season, the numbers are down across the board. Usage, points, field goal percentage, even his rebounds and assists per game are down as well. This was a all-rookie second-team member and a lottery pick. So now we welcome in Jeff Skin Wade from Fox Sports Southwest and the Dallas Mavericks to join us to talk about Dennis Smith Jr. Now, we've heard the rumblings, the rumor mill. Number one, what have you seen personally that would lead you to believe that the Mavericks are ready to move on from a lottery pick like Dennis Smith Jr.?
Well, I quite honestly, Ro, I think it's really more the outside perception that they are ready to move on. You know, a lot of times when we talk about this, we say the Mavericks think this or the Spurs think this, but the truth is there's a lot of people in a front office, and they a lot of times don't all have a uniform opinion, right? I think a lot of people make an assumption that because Luka is going to have the ball in his hands so much and Dennis has never played basketball without the ball in his hands, that they can't fit. So people kind of start leaping to conclusions. Keep in mind, Dennis has missed a lot of time this year with injury. They haven't really played on the floor together all that much, at least not enough to determine that they can't play together. And so I think a lot of it is sort of outside forces. There's internal forces as well, but I do think there's people in the Maverick organization that want this to play out, that want them to continue to grow together, because if you look at the last 20 years, the only top 10 picks the Mavericks have had have been, Devin Harris, which they traded for, and Luka and Dennis. They don't get top 10 picks. So you don't just want to move on from a guy so early, and you certainly don't want to take 50 cents on the dollar because other teams perceive him as someone that you have to trade.
Skin, Derek Fisher here. Speaking of these guys having the opportunity to grow and develop as kind of a unit, what's the plan in Dallas? Is it to try and contend in the Western Conference, hanging around that 7-8 seed? Or is there really a plan to start to rebuild around Doncic, and maybe Dennis Smith is in that plan, and you're thinking about 3 to 5 years from now being one of the top teams in the West?
I think that's a great question, and I think, perhaps maybe that question was sort of answered for them with the injury of J.J. Barea. If you look at where the Mavericks were in the standings and what their schedule is like coming up, it was going to be difficult. Now, they can still do it, and they're still going to try to win games. The good news for the Mavs is that if you look at how their salary cap is going to be structured over the next several years, they're going to have a ton of space. So they don't have to make decisions to, quote-unquote, rebuild and not try to win games, because it's not going to impact how much space they have. More than likely, they will be conveying their first-round pick to the Atlanta Hawks this year, so they're not going to be building this year through the draft. So there's no advantage to them to not try to win, not try to make the playoffs, because it doesn't have any long-term implications on how they will build around Luka. But I think the bottom line is, you're right, they will build around Luka. Luka is a generational type talent. They're very fortunate to have gotten him, and so everything is going to be about the right fit around him. But they don't have to make any hard decisions right now. They just need to go out and try to win every game, because the offseason is going to be totally different. There's nothing that's going to happen here over the next couple months that will in any way hinder what they're trying to do.
Skin, how much did Luka's seamless, transition from EuroLeague star to really NBA impact player change the calculus of the blueprint in Dallas? Like, how much did him being as good as he is, as quickly as he has, change everything for everybody?
I don't know that I would say that it necessarily changes it as much as it just escalates it, and it puts in your mind, wow, we can be better sooner than we thought. We can be a contending caliber team sooner than we thought. They have Harrison Barnes under contract for one more year if he opts in. They have Dennis Smith Jr. They have Luka. They did really, really well with their second-round pick, Jalen Brunson. He looks like an NBA player. In fact, sometimes you watch him and go, man, that looks like a young Derek Fisher. So they've hit on a lot of their young players. Again, they have tons of space. But I think they look at it now as, it's so hard to get a player that can impact your franchise. I'm not taking shots at any other franchises, but you can look at teams that have been in the lottery for 6 and 7 years, and they have lots of good players, but nobody that changes your franchise. Luka changes your franchise. I don't think it's even a question now at this point. I mean, even if he dips a little bit, it's still all-star caliber type play. So now you look at it and go, okay, is he the sort of sensation that other players want to come play with? We have all this cap space. Can we get some of these free agents? Or more likely, I think, make trades to acquire players into your cap space. That's the way the Mavericks got Harrison Barnes from the Warriors in the first place. They like to not overcommit to situations and see what opportunities arise. They did it with Monte Ellis. They did it with Harrison Barnes. They did it with Bogut. They've been very good and fortuitous at doing that type of stuff, and I think Luka's the kind of guy that players will want to play with. So it doesn't change things, I would say, as much as it escalates this whole process and makes it happen sooner.
Hey, Skim, before we let you go, of course, we talked about Luka on the court. We've witnessed what he's done, his clutch moments. He's come up big, doing everything he wants to on the court. But the impact that he's had away from the basketball court, the Luka mania that we've discussed, it's even impacted your family as well.
Yeah, guys, so I got a 13-year-old daughter, and I not only work for the Mavericks, but I work in sports talk radio, and we're the Dallas Cowboys station and the Rangers station. So we've been around Dak and Zeke and with the Rangers and all this stuff. The only one she's ever cared to have her picture taken with is Luka Doncic. And I don't know if maybe she thinks they're the same age. I don't know what the deal is here, but Luka mania is real, boys. And when we went on the recent East Coast trip, and you could see it in Boston and Philly, with a lot of European media being there and the types of questions that Rick was having to answer, it is real. It is crazy. I'm in shock that he's where he is with the All-Star voting, but I think it just sort of lends itself to the idea that, hey, this guy is a phenom. At 19 years old, he'll be 20 later this month. He was a star over in Europe. He is a star here. And if you hear what Draymond Green says about him after they play, or Paul George says about him after they play, other top-flight players in this league recognize it, and I think fans are loving the Luka step-back magic. We get it every night here, and it's pretty good stuff.
You know what's pretty good stuff? You joining us right here, coming up clutch as usual. Jeff Skin Wade, enjoy the game, man. Greatness as usual.
Hey, thank you, boys. Have a great night.
10-year challenge. Everybody's been taking it, and Luka, he accepted it today. Take a look at Luka. 10 years ago?
Wearing diapers? I mean, come on.
I mean, this was a part of the baggy era. We all remember the early 2000s. We were all wearing baggy clothes, and wearing baggy basketball uniforms was the thing.
I love the 10-year challenge with these people who were, like, in second grade. And now they're like, I don't want to think about the 10-minute challenge, let alone the 10-year challenge.
Yeah, no, I want no parts of this challenge at the moment where I was 10 years ago.
You weren't in a bad place.
No, not at all. Not at all.
You weren't in a bad place at all. But, I mean, but Luka has been uber impressive so far. Thoughts real quick. All-star team, all-star player, yes or no? Is he a top 24 player in the NBA right now?
I mean, he's in the conversation. Yeah. He is, and that alone, to me, says a lot. The West it's tough to make the All-Star team in the West. If we ever get to a format where there's no conferences and it's just 24 top guys, maybe he gets in anyway. But in the West, for him to get in outside of fan voting, you know, you have to start thinking about putting him in front of some bona fide All-Star guys. And I'm not sure, as great as he's been, if he goes above, you know, Dame Lillard's and other guys that are in the West that there's no way you can leave off the roster.
Yeah, my test is always, what's been the hurdle for a rookie? Like, how high a bar has a rookie had to climb to get into the playoff mix? Was LeBron an All-Star as a rookie? You know what I mean? Like,
very true.
Because to me, and everybody likes to compare numbers with Luka and LeBron, you know, in terms of what they did at this point of their rookie seasons, it's tough. Like, it's one thing to be an impact player and to surprise us or to really kind of shock us with how well you've played. It's another thing to be sitting there on All-Star Sunday, getting your name called with the best of the best. Guys who have been playoff vetted over, you know, the decades. That is a very high bar. Luka, to me, has future All-Star for a very long time written all over him.
Yeah.
But I'd have to go through player by player to see, does he jump this guy? Does he jump that guy? If the Mavericks aren't competing in the playoff mix. Now, that's a different calculus. If he's got the Mavericks up in that mix, maybe that top 4 mix for the playoffs, then we can talk. Right now, great story, future All-Star, but I'm not sure he's there right now.
Well, as a rookie, if he does, he would join the companies of the recent guys like Shaquille O'Neal. You think about Blake Griffin, Yao Ming, who made the All-Star game as rookies.
That's tall cotton right there.
Yes, it is.
Very good
be
company.
among those